What is going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday. We had a heck of a day yesterday. We had a nice little rip, a little rally on our show yesterday. For all of you who are watching, we got some live trading action from Bull Barbie. We got some trading action out of Forest. We got some trading action out of Ash. It was a jam-packed day. I know a ton of you were in trades as well. As we fast forward to today, it's a little calmer, a little more boring, but not entirely boring. This show, we not only entertain and engage you, but also deliver the ideas, the charts, the setups, the community, the trustworthiness and transparency that you've gone to expect out of MyFundedFutures. And so without further ado, I would like to welcome our expert traders onto the stream with me, Miss Bull Barbie, Mr. Forrest Knight, and we're going to dive right into it today. We're going to take a look at ES and NQ. What's going on, guys?
Ooh, buddy, it's another
Good
day.
morning.
Can't see
I want to
the
know where
forest through the trees.
I want to know where Forrest is today.
I'm hiding. You can't see me.
Can't see him like John Cena. All right, guys. I mean, let's hit it. What I want to do today is I want to take a look at ES first, and then take a look at NQ. I would also like to ask each of you to give us a little bit of a replay on the action that you had yesterday. Why did you decide to make a decision? How did it go? All of that sort of thing. And then, we'll keep rocking and rolling.
Let's rip it.
Well, who should we start with? ES or NASDAQ?
Yes.
Okay, we'll start with ES.
Everybody's sister. I don't know. I couldn't think of something.
Which sister should we pick on first? Well, I guess if we're talking about what trades, well, let me get this a little bit. I guess I wasn't ready, but now I am. So yesterday, I was already in a position, a swing position, and I guess I'll kind of talk about that. I kind of have a different chart up, but that was more of a market sentiment and idea type play more than anything else. Really just based on this whole deal where Trump said he had something cooking, and when Trump has something cooking, the market tends to like it. So that's why I had bought calls that I had swung over the weekend, just kind of waiting for this big announcement. So that was my big trade yesterday, because I'd actually gone kind of heavy into that, but it did work out. I did get another little thing yesterday. I'll show you. This was just a super quick little scalp, kind of right as I was getting off the stream. But I just noticed that we had been downtrending all morning, and a lot of times we kind of have that last little push before it'll turn the other way. And I was busy in the afternoon, so I knew I wasn't going to be messing with the charts. But I saw this little break, and this is a 15-minute. It's a little bit easier to play on the 5-minute, but if I switch this, it's going to screw me up. So this is the opening range that I'm always kind of watching. And after trending down, it did kind of do a little, and we were also watching this level over here for a liquidity sweep, which was right at that orb level. So when we broke that, I just took it for a super quick little scalp. It was a little bit of a dangerous one, but I just took that real light. And then we did get the reversal move up, but it took a lot longer in the day. So I guess it's kind of good. I didn't sit around trying to play that all day. But for today, I can go ahead and go into what I'm looking at. So for today, I always start out on the daily. So here's the ES daily. I don't have the watermark on this chart just because it's a little bit easier to see all these different little levels. But I've been kind of watching the EMA. So the yellow is the fastest one. That's the 21. And that one is now crossing the 50 SMA. And then this purple one's the 200. So when if the 50 and the 200 crossed, if they cross again, we're kind of setting up for that to happen potentially. That's going to be pretty bullish for the market. That'll turn some more buy programs on, I expect. We do have this gap below. So if we do move lower, this gap right here, whether it's on ES or NASDAQ or Dow, whatever you're trading, this needs to be on your charts, because that's something that we need to watch for any little retracement down. Like, that's just going to be the obvious targets. So let's take a look at what that looks like on the hourly charts, because this is kind of where I base my most of my plan. One of the reasons that I like the hourly is we can kind of see how much range the different days had real easily. So we can kind of see yesterday's kind of quiet day. And the next thing I've noted is we kind of traded lower, but then we tested higher, and we did not test. We tested above yesterday's high, but not below yesterday's low. So the next thing I'm going to do is mark the pre-market high and low here, so we can watch those. So here's that gap that I mentioned down there. I'll highlight it, and we can start talking about some levels. So I usually kind of talk about the bullish plan first, but we'll kind of talk about that bearish one since I pointed out that gap. If we do start testing lower, the first thing would be to test that that pre-market low. That's 58.35. This it's pretty likely we could get a test in here. But if we start trading below it, that's going to be a break of this higher high, higher low structure. And so that would be the hit. That's the first little break there. If we do get that move, the first kind of target would be down here at 58.14, which hopefully should be strong support. But if the sellers show up today or a different day, breaking this level down here around 58.14 is going to be kind of the setup to move down, to maybe start challenging this gap. But first we'd have 57.72, then 57.40, 56.85. Okay, so if we end up chopping, yesterday what we were kind of looking at was the previous day's high and low. We've already broken the previous day's high. So the chop scenario would probably be staying within the pre-market high and yesterday's low and just kind of chopping around in here, but especially above the pre-market low. That's a kind of small range for what we've been doing. So that's a 60-point range. ES could stay in a 60-point range. We did have CPI this morning, and it's caused the dollar to move lower. We also have the VIX moving lower. So this chop scenario and the moving lower scenario are not my favorite. The bullish one still is. I just wanted to point out that I think we're going to have a lot of resistance kind of where this purple zone is. This is where I'm going to start watching for the breaks to kind of get put on. I'm expecting some orders up in here, and I'll explain why in just a second. But so we've got these levels that we've just kind of been working at. We were watching the 58.77 yesterday that ended up basically being our high. And now we've got this new high up at 58.85. So I'm going to watch that. If this gets broken and we're still walking up, the next area I have to target is 5,900, which is kind of nuts since we were just at 55 something not too long ago. But the main resistance that I'm looking at overhead is going to be up around 59.24 to 59.35. When we look at the daily, that's where we're really getting into that 3 ATR extension. And then there's also some resistance overhead. We've got some where these wicks have come down and the market was held before, ends up becoming some nice resistance levels. So I talked a lot about ES. Now I want to know where we are with NQ for us. And tell me about what you did yesterday after your stream, after our stream.
Just in general? I mean, I had a pretty
I was thinking for trades, but yeah, we can hear what's going on in life of the forest enterprise.
Behind this camera, we actually have like a ton of metal trussing. So I was building I'm not going to grab one of these like Lego blocks, right? So we're putting a big metal truss around this stage. It'd be pretty sick. So yeah, let's replay yesterday in Q. And let's take a look at what we had. So in the morning, let's go to the 1 hour a little bit. We had these candles turn into like this 4 hour high volume or higher volume red candle, right? So took a short, was looking for lower. We came to like the bottom of this or the beginning of this low value area, and then it immediately started to bottom out. So that was a signal again that it was going to be more of that like 4 hour flag kind of shape that I had mentioned, right? So got like 60 points out of it. Again, the day's ranges are still pretty big, so it ended up being a scalp. Not bad, but once you have that thesis, you basically could just flip back long, right? I didn't flip back long, so to the rest of your question of what I did the rest of the day, I was just working on the business here in Miami. But we did get this high volume doji candle here on NQ and ES, and so we'll just open up ES here, right? And you'll notice that this is actually green on ES. So this candle right here was really the sign to go long. So the issue with this price action here is that overnight lows are technically like way down here, right? But there still was this obvious pivot right here. And so we got a high volume green candle, or up candle at a low, which is a signal candle in my system. It is diverged on NQ. Nonetheless, though, because we're in such a bullish, like very obvious bullish situation right here, you could safely flip long there. So I did see it. I didn't take action on it because I was busy, had a lot going on. I'm also trying to, negotiate some other stuff. But yeah, a lot going on. So I did not do any other trading in the afternoon yesterday, to say the least. But when I was reviewing last night, yeah, I did see that there was quite a bit of trades that you could have taken there. We also swept this high, which I didn't play any of this at all. After sweeping this high, taking a little short back across for this, traversing this node wasn't a bad play either. We can see our NQ, it went a little bit further. So I'll show you guys what I mean here, right? And so you sweep that, and then it comes back. You're wondering, where's it going to go back to, Forrest? Let me get this little tool right here. The edge of this node is pretty safe. So this node is a group of people, and then you just expect it to traverse that group of people, and it did, right? And it grabbed all the liquidity, sucked it up, and back higher. So this morning, I'm flat right now, truly flat. We'll see what happens here. We already got data, right?
Yeah, we had the PMI.
PMI was today. Yeah, it was a smaller reaction than I expected.
Yeah, so the number came in worse than expected, and we do have the dollar moving lower. I think it's more impacting the dollar than anything else, but the dollar moving lower.
Well, if the dollar's going to run down, the market's going to run up today.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't
that's the only movement that I noticed was the dollar had the biggest reaction.
Interesting. Yeah, the dollar did come off a little bit.
And that makes sense with low PMI.
It could. I tend not to reason about the news too much personally. I just kind of.
Well, low PMI usually does make the dollar come on. Not all the time, but it usually does. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. But yeah, that's all I got on NQ. Right now, we have, let's see here. Yeah, this upward slant. We have a low, a higher low, highs, higher high, and a higher high in. So, I mean, we still have this upward push in the market on the 4 hour right now. Let's load our wider range volume profile and see what it looks like here. We can get rid of this next shelf. We don't need that 5% area. The measured move higher that I did yesterday was right here at 21,324. So that'll be my up target for today. If we do just keep moving higher, that's what I'm looking for. We're at the edge.
The chat just corrected me. I said PMI. It was CPI. Chat's trolling the heck out of me right now. Y'all are right. It's CPI. I said the wrong one. Did I say? I said PMI. I think it's CPI.
Yeah, I think you said PMI.
Yeah, that was. I'm still working on my caffeine. I'll get on that while Boris is going. It's CPI for sure.
Yeah, I got coffee inbound getting delivered here. In a second. Yeah. So given it, yeah, I mean. The reason it was a little weird is I looked before 8:30, and then because the reaction was so small, I was like, wait, was there data today? But there was data today. So it's interesting. We'll see. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, most of the chat knew what I was talking about. All those letters I get them all mixed up in my head early in the morning. PMI, PPI, CPI.
ABC.
Yeah, it's
KFC.
all data.
JFK.
Yeah.
I think we lost Luke. Perfect. All right, let's look at the market. Let's talk about Bitcoin, guys.
Like, where is Luke?
I was expecting him to jump in. He must be busy, but I actually want to talk about Bitcoin. So if anybody's seen what Bitcoin's been doing,
This sounds like your chart of the day.
Yeah, let's take a look at this old Bitcoiny. So Bitcoin has this nice little W pattern at the lows. Okay, it's pushing up higher. We mentioned this. I mean, we were talking about Bitcoin a few days ago, and I was like, it might make a push for all-time highs, and here it is. I took a look at my crypto portfolio the other day. I'm sitting pretty happy. That's nice. As you guys know, I'm a long-term crypto buyer. I just buy, and so my crypto portfolio is up pretty big again. That being said, though, why did we kind of do this move here? You see it's in an uptrend. Let's let the visible range volume profile load. Come on. All right, we got too much data in there. Let's get to a little bit more recent. You can see here that there's a shelf down here, right? That it just so coincidentally, right, is prior highs, huge amount of people here, and then the auction just rejected that. Like that was exactly where the auction did a pivot, right? We'll line this up, right? So it's a prior high, but you can also see how the market races through these low values there. It ripped down through low value, did a little bit of consolidation. We got a little bit of a node here, and then just bounced back up. And so when you're trying to figure out like what the story is going to be, it's always going to be, you know, based off of where people are positioned. So I just want to highlight that on Bitcoin. That was kind of why I saw that W just, you know, playing out how it did. Now that we're back at all-time highs, I don't really know. We'll see. We'll see if we're not technically, we're pretty close to all-time highs on Bitcoin. We are 6,000 off, which Bitcoin can do that in a day. That's like nothing for Bitcoin. So we could see new highs in the crypto market, which is pretty interesting. Considering the macroeconomic environment right now. There's, I think, some talks in the government of a few things that could, you know, change. I know they were talking about the U.S. government starting a crypto reserve, which would add immense buy side pressure.
Yeah.
Into crypto. So
it's been really interesting with the governments getting involved in crypto.
I know, right? Like
that's when it completely changed, because I was trading it before that, and then when the governments got involved, the way it traded changed.
Right.
I kind of haven't messed with it since, but I think that's cool you're using volume profile on it. Because I was trading it so long ago, I didn't even really think of using volume profile on Bitcoin. That makes a lot of sense.
I use it on everything.
Volume. Now. Yeah, like anything with volume.
Anything with volume. Let me see where people are positioned. You know. So
we had a question in the chat from Christopher. How do you distinguish between a true trend reversal and a liquidity sweep on Bitcoin? Because that would kind of be with anything, right? When you're, hopefully the volume profile can help you with that one.
Especially when price breaks a major high or low with high volume. That's a great question. So let's actually, I think a better chart would be the one that we were on in Q and ES. Okay. So how do you determine a trend reversal? Here's a pretty safe rule. And for trading in general we're playing poker. Okay. I actually just put a video out about how trading is poker. It's on my MyFundedFutures channel. Go check it out. But just ask yourself, did I catch the knife? Okay. That's really what your question is. You're asking me, hey, Forrest, how do I know that the trend isn't just continuing, or it's not a trend reversal instead of just a liquidity grab, right? You're basically saying, how do I know I didn't actually catch the knife perfectly? Well, you didn't. Okay. 9 times out of 10, guys, you did not catch the knife. Okay. If you look at the daily chart on NQ, it's up. We have higher highs and higher lows. It's not perfect. Okay. But it's a very clear uptrend. And so if you're, you know, short yesterday, took a little short scalp yesterday, like I did, it's not because you're looking for a trend reversal. You're doing the little liquidity grab. Holy crap. I almost messed that word up viciously. You're doing a little liquidity grab, right? And so, but if you longed since April 24th, which wasn't that long ago, honestly, and just held, you'd be up. You would just be up. So it's one of those things where you just need to zoom way the heck out again. I know we talk about it all the time. And
for some reason, it's one of the hardest skills for new traders.
Yeah, you just very likely have not caught the knife. It's much more likely, given what the market is telling us, that it's going up. The market said, hey, I'm going up. Just trust what the market's saying. Don't say, what? Maybe you're going down, Mr. Market. And the market's like, nah, dog, we're definitely going up. right? And you're over here fighting it. So you could just long, right? I should have flipped long yesterday after I saw that bottoming out, right?
Yeah, in hindsight, I wasn't at the computer, but in hindsight, that was actually a really nice reversal we got.
Yeah, I mean, it was the flag continuation of formation was one of the outcomes, and it's like the most likely outcome in that situation, right? In an uptrend, right? You're gonna have liquidity grabs. You're not gonna have V reversals. Okay, ask yourself in an uptrend, how likely are you on a day to do one of these, right? Comes down and then it just like does this. It just doesn't make sense in an uptrend on a higher time frame, right? It just really doesn't. That rarely, like that hasn't happened, right? We've got
I
a
think
down
sometimes
candle.
people want the drama, like they're looking for that big. I don't know. It's clickbait. We're kind of we're always looking for clickbait, and that is the clickbait moves. Like, oh, this is way too much optimism. The bottom's going to fall out of it. And
Yeah,
you have to be able to distinguish between clickbait and reality.
I think retail, in terms of poker too, retail is always looking for like they're trying to turn the pair of sevens into the winning hand. Like they want every single minute of every single day. Like this candle's gonna be the one. This candle's gonna be the one. This candle's, and it's like, dude, no, it's not. Like, stop. This candle's not gonna be the one. It's gonna consolidate and it's gonna push higher because that's what it's been doing. So very common retail mistake, I think, is always looking for the massive reversal when there just isn't one.
That's like hopium, like a bit, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
We want that big run out of every play, but we don't get that big run out of every play.
That's where like watching option flow can really help. End of the month candles, gamma exposure.
Yeah, I need to check out your option tools. I've been busy making my own, but I'm behind you. Mine aren't ready. I need to go check out yours too.
The only public one I have, I could put it up, but the only public one I have is Force. If you go to force-bot.com, it'll
that's the one I wanted to check out.
Yeah, options.
Forrest, how many websites do you have?
He has a few.
I have a lot of tools that I run for myself. I was a software engineer for a long time. I can make anything.
That's kind of what I'm dealing with too. Is I build these things for myself, and then other people want them, so I make the ones available that I can.
It's making it usable for other people is.
That's phase 2. That's the whole.
Other people do use that one, so it's connected to, like, I have a Discord bot that I wrote. So you could, it's like a shorthand if you want to like track zeros. I built that for my community so we can track zeros really easily. But yeah, I have a lot of scripts and stuff that I write just to like scan them. I have a script that basically will go and it'll tell me the highest ROI across the entire market on any given day.
What do you mean? Like if you had made that trade or what?
Yeah. So say like 2 months ago, I want to know what was the maximum I could have pulled out of the market across the entire option chain.
Okay.
I have a script that I write, and it helps me when I'm planning for option trades to figure out missed opportunities, but also what's possible, right? So like the gamma trades that I take, for example, I guess I could just pull this up possibly, but it's pretty easy to go for like a 10x on those, right? But it's under a very, very, very like specific set of circumstances. There's only like 3 a month tops. But when you're 10x sounds crazy until you realize that there's like 50x a runway. Like some of these trades go to like 100x and all that. So like you can conservatively 10x your position with these trades, which sounds crazy when you say it, but when you have data, it's not crazy.
That's the fun thing about the options market.
Yeah, I love it.
Doing crazy.
Well, let me interrupt you with a comment that I love out of the chat. It says, motivation whispers dreams and sparks the fire, but discipline is the wildfire, the force that turns dreams into reality. Champions aren't made by feeling like they're made by doing it when they don't. I sort of screwed up the ability.
Wow.
That's deep.
I feel inspired.
Quote of the day. Life lessons.
Luke.
All right, folks.
We need a segment for that now.
LLL. Life lessons with Luke.
Yeah.
You need to be like in front of a campfire, Luke.
Uh-huh.
Or something like.
We're gonna stress everyone out behind the scenes. Can we get that scene now with the fire and the crackling?
Let me get an LLL in the chat if you guys want Life Alert to be a segment.
Great.
There it is.
Preview, all y'all. All right, we got some special things cooking. First things first, the like count is disappointing at 200.
I already did my
BS,
part.
that stands for bullshit. We can't be having 200 likes on a stream when we've got a big launch right around the corner. Second, preview of the content we have ahead. Every single day on the stream, every single day without fail, 22 episodes in, we deliver you the most interesting chart of the day. There is no other future stream out there that you can go to and see the most interesting chart of the day every single day. Yes, we look at ES and NQ. Yes, we have better takes on ES and NQ than others, as you're well aware by this point. We also deliver you the most interesting chart of the day, so we have that right around the corner. After that, we're going to be coming into the open. The time is 9:28 a.m. Eastern. We'll have a couple minute candles, start of a 15-minute candle. So we'll take a look at how we open, how we're rocking and rolling. And I have what is perhaps the biggest launch in the prop industry up my sleeve. Barbie doesn't even know what it is. Forrest doesn't even know what it is. But at 9:55 a.m. Eastern, about 25 minutes from now, we're going to be bringing you what could be the biggest launch in the prop trading industry. We like that?
I like it.
Yeah, but next time you got to tell me the secrets first.
All right. Should we do some giveaways today too?
Obviously.
Let's go.
What should we do? Resets or accounts?
No giveaways. Nobody gets anything.
If chat's being good, I'm going to have to ask Magnus if chat's being good.
Yeah, W
no
Magnus.
One gets anything today.
All right, last thing. If y'all are listening to Forrest and Barbara, you're talking to your fellow chatters, and you want to get in on the action, I'm dropping a link in the chat with code YouTube for 30% off Expert. That is the most flexible plan out there. We'll talk more about it later today. But all right, that's enough of me pontificating, which is an appropriate word to use amid the new Pope. Barbie, I will send it to you.
Well, I'll give you a hint. The one I picked for most interesting chart today is on this earnings chart for this week. I'll give you like 2 seconds. Oh, they're all still begging for for giveaways and stuff. Okay, well, the one that I am looking at today is Walmart. And Walmart's one that it may not be as fun to play like the actual earnings release, but it's definitely one that's interesting to watch. And so I have the hourly pulled up here, and it is up moving into earnings. So I told y'all that a lot of times I'm kind of looking for just kind of a drift that I can catch into earnings. And so this would have been like the pre-earnings drift. But something that I've kind of noticed is when we kind of zoom out on Walmart, it's been holding pretty strong. And I actually noticed it's kind of not a dissimilar shape to ES a little bit here too. But I've noticed that Walmart has not made as strong of a moves up as ES has. This is one that's, you know, it's a staple. If Walmart's doing bad, we really need to worry. And so I'm always trying to look at Costco's another one too that I know people are really interested in. But Walmart, because it has good options and it's one that you can hold, I think is one that is definitely something that you can play with a lot of different strategies if you're interested in it. And it is a little sluggish right now compared to the indexes. So that's kind of why it caught my eye coming into earnings. And just being something, the options move pretty decent on it too. So if you're playing the weekly options on it, the liquidity is really good and you can get in and out of these moves pretty easily. You can see the high that we have recently is just under 100. And if you've been paying attention to the Mag 7 stocks lately, you'll kind of notice that those whole numbers are really important on those as well. And they all just kind of got over that whole number. Walmart hasn't done it yet. So that one caught my eye there. Anybody else like Walmart? Who else plays Walmart?
All right, let's get some engagement going, guys. We've talked about ES. We've talked about NQ. We do not want anyone there to sit on their hands. I wouldn't necessarily call you a bum, but we want you to participate and be active. If you had to, you have no choice. You had to take a position on Walmart. Put a 1 in the chat if you'd flip it long. Put a 2 in the chat if you'd flip it short. Put a 3 in the chat if you just don't know about stocks. That's an acceptable answer too. Again, everybody's participating. We're a community.
Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I was doing this over here and I forgot to show you, Luke. I think I need a caffeine.
We were looking at your calendar.
We were looking at my calendar and I was trying to show you the difference in this chart. So I'm interrupting you so I can catch everybody up with this chart that I was showing where the ES has made the stronger move compared to Walmart. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
All right. So Walmart, it's about 50-50, Barb.
Is it?
Half long, half short, and you got a little chunk of people who don't.
Well, it's something to go look at, and this is what I was kind of mentioning with this 100 level right here. We've kind of got that 100 psych level that we bounced off of. So with earnings coming up, could be exciting.
I'll say this: if they kill the trade war, Walmart, who is one of the best suppliers of Chinese goods in America, will probably be better off.
Well, I'm kind of looking at the trends of how the trade war has gone a little bit too. And I think that you can be really critical. So I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just trying to find the facts. So we started with the trade war in China. And so I didn't write the numbers down, so I might be wrong, but I'm going to give you the gist. So our tariffs to China before, it might have been like 3% or something like that. And they were charging us 8%. And so then we asked for 150 or 140 or whatever it was, and we're kind of settling back on 10. And so it sounds like we haven't made a big difference because we're way off of that 150%, way down to 10%, but we're still 3 times what we were, which I think is kind of what the ultimate goal was in the first place. Not these huge shock and awe numbers. I think shock and awe is Trump style, but he was really trying to get to something more reasonable. And so everyone's been I think I've gotten this question a lot. Why am I not panicking over the trade war? And that's just the way I see it. This is classic Trump negotiation, and he wants to freak everyone out and then make them feel like they got the win, which is what we're doing.
I'm freaked out. I'm way freaked
I'll keep you calm. I'll keep you calm. But
yeah, right now. I'm standing up because my back hurts, guys. I'm old.
But that's kind of why I'm looking at things like this, is because I don't really think that Walmart's going to crash because of the trade war. I think we're all going to, at the end of the day, it's all going to be good.
Yeah, we're all going to die. But
all right. I'm coming back to ES and NQ for a second here. Some assets that we know our folks love. Half of them loved Walmart, but we know they all love ES or NQ. I put a poll in the chat asking for the bias for the day. 78%, now 79% of voters said that they're bullish on the day as opposed to bearish. We are now about 5 minutes off the open. I know it's not a lot of time, but we've got a little bit of settling off the open. Barbara, you've got your screen up. Can you just talk us through what this open does for you? And Forrest, I'm going to flip it to you in a second here.
Sure thing.
Well, I'm just immediately, I was kind of favoring this bullish play. Just that's the trend. So this is no surprise that both the ES and the NASDAQ are doing this. What I'm kind of noticing right now is on, well, the VIX has disappeared, but there we go. The VIX is still moving down, but the ES and the NASDAQ are the strongest. NASDAQ's the strong out of the gate right now. The Dow and the Russell are still kind of holding back a little bit. So the whole market's not in agreement with this move, but I am noticing that the dollar's moving down and the VIX is moving down, which will help the indexes move up. So when I look back at the charts, I didn't mark the pre-market high on NASDAQ, but it's right there. We're about to hit that pre-market. That was really that data high that was not CPI. And then,
but Barbie, so what happens if we hit that pre-market high?
Well,
in your
what I was
mind?
about to say is I'm kind of watching, and I think that Forrest might be kind of watching kind of something similar. The NASDAQ is hitting that, but the ES isn't. And the strength in a trade idea is going to come when the sisters are in agreement and they're going to go together. But so we don't have that yet, especially with an opening like right out of the gates trade. I want to have those two in agreement. So if we can both push that high, I mean, usually if we have a high like this, it's going to get swept and we'll kind of get that first reaction off of it. Sometimes it'll move straight through. If we have that big impulsive candle that slices through, then that's one that you might kind of watch for a little consolidation to buy. But in this case, we can kind of watch for it to see if it gets swept and then moves back down to see if we can buy closer to the ES level I have around 58.77. I don't know if I'm dyslexic or what today. Something's going on. But yeah, so I want to see if we get these kind of both in the same page that we really want to test or push that high. Because if we test it and move back down, that's one sign from the market. But if we push right through
Like if
it,
we
that's
test it and
another.
move back down, is like, can I be forward enough to say you take a short position at that point?
I don't know. Because then the context of what I'm looking at, the VIX is moving down rather aggressively. So we were looking at it. I think Forrest has good levels on it, but I was kind of looking at the 20 level. I think we had kind of the
What
19 level
candles are
below
these,
it.
Barbie?
These are 5 minute.
Okay.
So we've got I know Forrest is looking at the higher time frame, and he had pulled out some levels yesterday, and so we're below all those. We've kind of broken through that support on VIX. And so VIX is in a downtrend. The indexes are in an uptrend. That doesn't make me want to put risk on to the downside, especially out of the open. It might be, so we have time today where we have reversals that are more likely with the London close and things like that. But I'm more likely to be looking for a long opportunity. And it can be a breakout. But I don't want to buy a breakout if only NASDAQ is breaking out, because reversals are more, there's a bias towards at least the first time levels hit for there to be a move back down that would potentially take my stop out.
So Forrest, over to you.
got?
Similar question.
Yep.
We're approaching this pre-market high on NASDAQ. Does that do anything for you? If we breach it, is that going to put you into a long mindset, or where are you at?
So very similar. So you would want to already be long for sure. But very similar to what Barbie said, right? ES is catching up. So once ES sweeps that last man, remember auction market theory, somebody was long there, right? In that data candle, somebody went long at the worst possible moment. And right now they're watching the market and they're excited to be able to get out, right? Go flat. So as you approach these pivots in the market, people will hit either max profit that went long on the other side, or people who have been in pain this entire time finally have a way to get out. So we're going to see a bunch of sell aggressors coming at these highs. So that's why the overnight highs, overnight lows, prior day high, prior day lows are such key levels to trade off of. But in general, I mean, if I was going to short, to your question, the literal previous high would be the best place to do it, right? It just makes sense, right? Because your risk, your whatever your stop is, you basically would assume that the market's not going to run, it's going to range. It would do a higher high in reverse, right? So if you have that thesis, that's where I would short, would be after ES sweeps. Until ES sweeps, there's too much influence or reason for the market to go and clean those people up. In general, though, like I said, we're in an uptrend. Okay. So, I like being long today, tomorrow, the next day in general. If your macroeconomic thesis was that the market was down due to the mass amount of uncertainty that Trump injected to the market, which it was, right, with the tariff wars and all that, then the inverse should be true, where it's like he's took his foot off the gas with the tariffs, basically rewinded the clock and stuff like that. Then you would surmise that the market's going to go up. So I'm long bias in general, just for that reason. And if we go to the 4 hour again, right, which we'll do once I find my mouse, you can see that we had that 4 hour flag. And so I already have my upside target, right? I drew this literally yesterday, right? This is a measure move swing high. So we had a leg up, did some consolidation. So if we do our measure move higher, we're going to go for this 21, 3, 24, 25. Okay, so that's really what I'm thinking right now. There was a question in the chat as well. Someone asked me about being like a sim warrior, and they have trouble when they go to live, I think was the question. And you probably just need more data. You need to look at your trading style, probably write some things down. And one of the things with, like, if you keep everything in your head as a trader, it's going to be really, really hard to improve, right? Because there's going to be too much in your head, right? You need to write things down. You need to make them tangible and real. So there's systems. A very simple thing that I tell people is, if you overtrade, and I've mentioned this on stream before, get some Post-it notes, put them on your desk. And every time you take a trade, you rip one off and throw it away. And once you're out of Post-its, you're out of trades. Okay. I could just say, hey, only take 3 trades today. But having the visual makes it real. It's a huge difference, right? Trading is all psychological. We could talk theory and blah, 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 blah. But that's why dummies can be really good traders. And that's why smart people can be terrible traders, because it's all about execution and psychology. It's not about what you think. It's about what you do. So
prop for that one.
I think that it is about getting those reps in, like getting your practice in. And a lot of people try to skip the step of going through and practicing the trades with past data and past charts. And it doesn't have to be where it's this big ordeal where you physically go into sim trading and sit there and do that all day. You can even, I do this all the time when I have a new trade idea, or I'm having a hard time trusting a trade that it just doesn't seem to be working out, and I need to have more trust in it. I literally will just go back and look at previous dates. I'll even just pick one at random. In TradingView, they have this little calendar guy down here, and you can just go pick any random day. And I want to go look at December 12th and go to, and then you can just go through those previous days and see how that trade worked out in those days, and then you can get a whole lot of days of data really quickly, and work out all kind of those little nuances that are keeping you from trusting the trade.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It also will demystify too. Like, we rag on ICT. We don't really rag on it, but Barbie and I aren't ICT traders, right? Now, we've met some people who claim they're ICT and are profitable.
He's come at me though, so he's fair game for me. He comes at me, it's fair game.
Oh, I see. On what, Twitter or something?
Yeah, Twitter and YouTube. So
I'm not. I only live on YouTube. I'm very. I have no idea what happens on the internet. But regardless of what you trade,
after me, so fair game. Sorry,
gotcha.
that's the way it is.
No, I mean, I get it. I love a good battle. But regardless of what your style is, unless you have data behind it, like,
I think you want to trust another trader, but you have to trust yourself. You want to trust the expert or your mentor or who you just learned from, but you have to make it your own. And that's what going through and practicing, that's one of the things that it does.
Exactly.
Even if I learn a cool trick from Forrest, I'm going to make it my own by figuring out how I can actually execute it.
Yeah, just make sure you put top by foot. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But great segue, by the way. If you guys want to come to my free webinar this Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can go to learnvpe.com, sign up. It's totally free. It's literally just overviewing the stuff that I talk about every day, but in a more structured manner. So I know my trading style is a little kind of different, mostly because I made it up. But yeah, free webinar this Saturday. Learn. I'll put the URL in the chat. But
one step ahead of you, sir.
I had somebody ask me about my strategy too, and I kind of think I have a way I interpret the market, and then I have my little strategies that I'll deploy inside of that context. So that's why, for me, what's your strategy is not really the question I can answer, because my strategies are kind of like the little plays in my playbook. And I can collect those over time. I can keep collecting those and I can keep learning. But the way that I view the market is the way that I can interact with those strategies and have some context to make them more effective.
I like it.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to recap and launch us forward. So today on MyFunded TV, again, this is the show created not only to entertain you and engage you, and I do think we are the most energizing stream out there. If you agree, I would love to see that in the chat because we put a lot of effort into it. Second, we covered ES, NQ, VIX, US dollar, gold, Walmart, and the open in merely 46 minutes together. Pretty impressive. Let's get a little round of applause for Barbie and Forrest. Delivering for you always clear levels, clear opinions, not wishy-washy content. Third, every single day, we deliver to you education, a slice of education. We want to do whatever it takes to ultimately make you a better trader. So it's not only the charts, the levels, the questions, the community, but also we like to give you the sliver of education every single day so you can stack it and continue to build yourself. So we're going to look at education in a second here. Right after that, we have a massive launch, potentially the biggest launch in MyFundedFutures history. Fabio, a face that you might recognize from Discord, or I guess rather a name you might recognize from Discord, is going to show his face, take us through the launch, and that's going to be at 9:55 a.m. Eastern. But Barbie, I'd like to turn it over to you. What are we talking education-wise today?
I did kind of like start talking about this earlier, but this has come up in some questions, and we've mentioned it, but we haven't completely talked about it. I'm just trying to get down to a clean chart right now. So let's talk about what time of day is best to trade. So I want to know in the chat what your favorite session or time of day, time period is for your trades. So I know everyone I kind of have my favorite session, and I know in our group we have other people have different favorite sessions. So let me know what your favorite session is, but I'll let you know how I kind of look at it, and I think that this I've gathered this the way that I look at the time of day to trade from a very classic standpoint that a lot of people do. So I hope that you can see on the bottom of my chart, I have the volume in gray, and I keep it in gray because I don't want it to be the loudest thing on my chart. I want to be the candles and the levels should be the loudest thing on my chart, but I do keep them on there so that I can see when the big boys are trading, because I want to trade with the least amount of resistance as possible. So I want to join whatever is already going on. So that'll be the path of least resistance. I just want to pick up the scraps. I don't need to make $1 million today. It'd be cool, but I'm not working with an amount that I can make $1 million today. So I want to jump on the trend or the momentum or whatever I can in the same direction as the guys who are making that. It's going to make it easier for me to make my smaller amount of money within that. So what I'm always looking for is these volume spikes. You can see we get one at the end of the day and at the beginning of the day. And this is why most traders really like this morning session, because that's when the most volume is. And we've talked about this a lot where we get this first volume spike, but then we still have strong volume, and it'll kind of wax and wane a little bit, but then it'll drop off around lunchtime. And this makes trading a little bit more difficult because Forrest puts this really well where, the levels are people, the price levels are people and things like that's where actual orders are resting. And usually if you've got a big order in the market, it's going to be spread out over price a little bit so that it can kind of be munched on and not make a big reaction to price. And when you've got a large quantity of orders doing that, the price doesn't whipsaw around a lot. It can make these big, strong momentum moves, but on the little tiny chart, I'm on a 5-minute right now, but if I go down to a 1 minute, y'all know what that looks like. We get these little whipsaw wicks inside of all this slower volume. So price doesn't go anywhere, but it takes out stops before it runs to profit when it's in these spells. And one of the ways that we can guess that it's going to be that sort of environment is when the volume's really low. So obviously the morning session's great. That's when we're here telling you about it all. But there's other times too. Of course, we get the data moves usually about an hour before market. My chart is in Central Time. So if you're looking at the time down here, 8:30 is when the market opens in Central Time. But we tend to have data around 7:30. We didn't yesterday when I'm pulling this up. So that'll be a time that you want to kind of stay out of the way, but then you can kind of grab the after effects of some data. But the other big one that we have to watch, and this was, I think I'm still on yesterday's. Yeah, this is Monday's open. So this shows 2 o'clock on my Central Time chart. So this is 3 o'clock Eastern. We have when the European sessions open, especially the London session. And this is a really good example of getting this big, nice move and this big spike through here. But you can see the volumes on there too. So even though we don't have the volume of the US market, we have the volume of Europe. And one of the reasons that the morning session is really nice is because we have that overlap. So then once the London session closes, which is around in here, around 10:30, that's when the volume is dropping off really hard in our American session because we don't have that overlap. And then, of course, one of the cool things about futures is having the Asian open. This one has a huge gap, so it's kind of crazy. I'm going to go to today's, so it's not looking quite so ridiculous, but almost there. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to zoom to get that afternoon volume off for yesterday so that we can kind of see the relative volume here. The Asian session's a little bit more complicated because Taiwan doesn't open at the same time as Hong Kong and stuff like that. So it ends up a little bit different. But you'll see that even though the market isn't making massive moves, we're still getting some really nice movements in here. And it used to be that price might move on ES 5 or 10 points overnight. But in the environment that we're in right now, where we're having these huge ranges, we're actually getting some really nice movement overnight and in the evening, in our evening session, which is the Asian Open. So I was talking and I didn't get to watch what y'all's favorite session is, but if it's not the morning session especially, I want to hear what y'all's favorite session is.
There was a lot of New York in there, a lot of New York is my favorite session, by the way. Also, I just want to let you know, I'm sure you're watching, but ES did it front ran it by like a tick that morning high.
Yeah, I was actually if you saw me go ding, that's because my little alert was going off over there. And NASDAQ is still looking pretty strong.
Yeah, it's pushing here, and we could see how
catching up. So, Barbara, you talked about not wanting to enter a long position until you saw both clearing these pre-market highs. We're getting there.
We are getting there. This is looking really good. So I was hoping that we were going to kind of test that, but it didn't technically sweep it yet. But I was hoping that we were going to kind of get up in that area and then kind of test down, grab some support. You know what's happening? I've got my orb tool on here. I might need to turn this off for a second. The VWAP, this dotted line, this is the regular trading hours VWAP. It's supporting that level too. So I kind of have a double level. The way that I look at VWAP is it's basically a diagonal level, or it's a level that's moving with us. And so when that level catches up with another level, we have extra strength. So we have a lot of strength off of that 88 level right now. This is looking really strong.
Market's been in the gym.
Yeah.
Strong, dude. I've been in the gym recently too. I'm trying to get. I lost 30 pounds this year, guys. It's a lot.
Whew.
A lot. Yeah, you're seeing me. This is your first time seeing me, but I'm small right now.
Fit Forest.
Get fit with Forest.
Get fit with. I'm kidding.
That's his next website and channel, y'all. Getting fit with Forest.
I am kidding, guys. No, I've been because I became a partner in this business, and I've been working so much. I haven't been going to the gym, and yeah, I went from 190 down to 159. I went from 193 to 159. So I went from swole to back to how I used to be, or my normal.
Yeah, but we like you however you are.
I appreciate that, man.
You know who else we like? Guess who else we like? You're not going to guess.
I think I could guess. So let's make Forrest guess.
Kim Kardashian.
Yes, and our live traders. I've got another couple payout certs to share with you all. You want to see them?
Oh, let's go. I want to know who's making money in the market. Let's see.
All right, let's take a look. Let's get these payout certs on the screen.
I'm ready.
Got a user here from a live funded account. $5,000 payout cert. Yes, money gun rolling. But wait, there's more. I got another one for you. $1,200. Approved in less than 15 minutes. And I've got even a third surprise. Have you ever wondered who makes all of this possible? It's a question for the chat. Whoever is the first one to guess correctly is going to get a free Starter Plus account. But I'm wondering, do you know who makes all of this possible? These payout certs that we show every single day. There's one man behind it all. Some people think he's a myth, a legend. Let's bring Fabio onto the screen with us.
Hello, hello.
There he is.
Fabio,
How's it going?
do you have the YouTube chat open?
I do, yeah.
All right, can we get a big heart for Fabio in the YouTube chat? The man who makes these payouts possible, who makes this technology possible, the advocate for all of you. Whenever I do something that's not user-friendly, he's on me, punishes me, beats me up about it.
Nice.
He also watches to make sure what I say in the chat is appropriate.
Yes, I do.
Let's
Oh,
not
are
do
we
that.
supposed to do that?
No,
We don't
Barbie's
do
way
that.
worse than I am. But all right, folks. I want to see a like and I want to see a share on this stream, because what we have for you is possibly the biggest launch in MyFundedFutures history. Asterisk, possibly. It's up there. You know, like we're known, and all of you watching know that we are the trustworthy, transparent prop firm. We're objective. We're systematic. We've got the lightning fast payout approvals. We have plans with rules set up for you to succeed. And today, Fabio is bringing you something else to help you achieve success. Fabio, what is it?
We are going to be bringing to you real-time data, real-time stats on your stats page. Seen already on your stats page, you're going to have real time. And what that means is anytime you take a trade, you're going to have the stats here on the left update in real time. So I can go ahead and show you here as an example. If I were to go ahead and just press buy here, let's say I'm going to buy a contract. Oh, let's see if it actually executes, right? Let me see if I'm logged in. Hold on. Aha, there we go. And then, boom, boom, boom. If I close it here, give me 1 second. Am I on the right account? Hold on. Give me 1 sec.
Are you trading my account again, Fabio?
I might be trading your account.
Better be doing good.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on.
Oh, God.
Some of the chat saying they already saw it. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we did announce it on our Discord yesterday, which was pretty awesome. So if you did see that, that's awesome. So here it is. If I press buy, execute it here, boom, and then if I close it, it looks like it's not working at the moment, but
But we do promise it works.
yeah.
And
So
what I'll say is, what this means basically is that the days of guessing are over. The days of not knowing where you stand, not knowing how far along you are on your journey to whatever goal it is that you're trying to achieve are over. In line with us building this firm to be the trustworthy, transparent, objective firm that you can rely on. You know, we're delivering on that with this release. All users know where you stand, where your accounts are, across your accounts, no matter what stage you're in. What else am I missing, Fabio?
yeah, no, pretty much. We're going to be, like I said, this is a beta test. So, I mean, as you can see, it's 180 right now. My P&L is 180 on the day, right? If I go to account summary, or wrong account, but you know what I mean. It's up on the day, and it was updating earlier. As you can see, it says plus 8.18% here. So it is updating real time. It is on beta test at the moment. So if you do see any kind of issues, you know, feel free to open a ticket and we'll take care of it. We'll forward the feedback over to the tech team. But like I said, it is real time. And yeah, when you do take a trade, it will update directly on the dashboard. So pretty awesome stuff. Now
They're wondering if that changes how the end of day drawdown works.
Oh, so no, that won't change how the end of day drawdown works. We're not making a good update here just to mess you guys up in terms
Just
of
making
change
sure.
it. Yeah, no, good question. Good question. So it is just going to be when you actually trade, it'll update the stats for you so that you can see what it's looking like, what your P&L is, and to keep track of it. And yes, I am seeing some people in the chat saying, can't wait until this affects payouts. Can't wait to this. So I will say stay tuned for what we have next. I won't give out too much.
Are you teasing us?
Won't say too much, but all I'm going to say is, stay tuned for what we have next, and we may have some even more upgrades for you instead of just analytics. So stay tuned.
That's
So
sick.
you're saying not only are you building and launching the real-time analytics, but like Billy Mays, but wait, there could be more.
Hey, who knows?
Okay.
Fabio, you're not just taking people's evaluation money and putting it in your pocket. You're building things.
Hey, every day we're always trying to build things. So I mean, here, what I'm thinking about doing next is, since we have this whole presentation going on, how about we do a little fun reset code? Or actually, you know what?
Oh, snaps.
You know what I'll do instead, guys? Instead of just a reset, what I'll do, because we've got such a great announcement going on here, what I'm going to do instead is, instead of just resets, for those of you who don't have the chance and don't have an active account to reset, go ahead and go onto our website right now. It's going to be free accounts and free resets. So either one you want, your first 50 people to get it. So the code is going to be real time. So code real time adds free accounts or free resets. So go onto there. It's 50 of them. So first 50 people, go for it.
I think Fabio might have found the hack for keeping chat from complaining. What do you think, Luke?
Yep. That was a pretty good solution. Fabio,
Pushing
you
higher,
don't know
by the
this,
way.
but every day we give away things for free. And by we, I mean you, as the
You make us
face
look
of
good. We get to do it.
MyFundedFutures, and they
Right.
complain. I give away resets, they say accounts. 10 minutes
Oh
later,
my.
I give away accounts, they say resets.
Oh,
Savages
no.
out there, man.
You guys complaining about free things? Come on. No, I understand. I mean, some people don't have active accounts, but I mean, hopefully this one helps. Yeah, I just saw someone saying they got a free 150K expert. Nice one. Playing it smart there.
Yeah, if you won, we want to see it in the chat.
Yes.
Fabio, what if we do something special for people who didn't win? I have an idea.
Go for it.
All right. Every day on this stream, VPE Forest and Bull Barbie talk about the expert plan. They love the flexibility of the expert plan, the DLL rule, the payout potential. What if we gave everyone 30% off of expert so they can check out the real-time analytics?
Hey, 30% off. That's very cheap for the expert plan. So
are there activation fees on that?
Yeah, I was about to
no
point out.
activation fees.
You don't get that email that says, congratulations, please give us a lot of money, more than you gave us in the first place.
Yeah,
That doesn't exist.
Exactly. So, I mean, there's none of that here. You pass the account, boom, you're funded. And with these free accounts, you pass it and you're free for you're sim funded for free. So hard to complain about that. Question: why do MFFF? If you're asking about the sim funded accounts, in terms of having scaling plan, that is just part of the plan. In terms of the eval, there's no scaling there. We look for actual scalability in terms of the sim funded. So once you're there, you're actually proving your profits, and you're making that profit with actual small contracts that you earn along the way, right? So as you make profits, you get access to more. All right, so now what I'm thinking is, for the people who didn't get the accounts, because I'm seeing some people already starting to say, Oh, we didn't get it. I didn't get it. That's okay. What I'm thinking is one more round, since I didn't get to properly show you guys the real time here. Let's do one more. So this time we're gonna do just the resets. We're going to do resets this time.
Another one?
Yes, we're going to do.
Wait, Fabio, hold on.
We're gonna have to get. Everyone's gonna be begging for Fabio now.
You deliver on a release. Not only do you do one round resets, not only do we cover setups on ES, NQ, VIX, Gold, Dollar, Walmart today, but you're also doing a second round of giveaways.
Hey,
he lost his mind.
Everyone deserves it. So let's go. Everyone's gonna be able to get this one. It's 50 more resets. It's going to be code real-time reset. All right. So go for it. It's going to be 50 resets free. Let's see who gets it. If you get a free reset, make sure to say it in chat so that we know.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Can we get some goat emojis for Fabio? Thank him for joining. I don't know about you all, but I think Fabio should do a 20-minute segment every day. If you think so, drop that in the chat too.
I like it.
I like it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for having me, guys.
All right. Thank you, Fabio.
Thank you. Thank you.
And again, check out those plans.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Peace. All right. So I just recapped what we've done today. We've covered a lot of symbols, a lot of setups. We covered the open. We covered a big release. We had some giveaways. And I have a very special guest for us. Mr. Tom Basso, I'd like to bring him onto the stream with us. Now we're going to run all the way up till 10:30. And then we have Mr. Ashtrades joining us at 10:30. We got a jam-packed day today. Tom, welcome.
Hey, good to be here.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking time out of your morning.
It's been interesting. I had to set the alarm.
Uh-oh. Well, you made it, and we're glad you made it.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself to our audience, that'd be great.
Well, Tom Basso, obviously. I guess my history is engineer, chemical, out of Clarkson University up in northern New York, and 1974, a lot of years ago, before most of you were born, probably. I started in St. Louis as a chemical engineer and ended up.
What? I'm from St. Louis. Sorry, I didn't cut you off. I never meet people from St. Louis.
Oh, I'm excited too.
Well, I'm not from St. Louis anymore. I moved from Syracuse, where I grew up, to St. Louis. Spent 21 years there. Had a home in the woods that I designed myself out in Eureka, Missouri, if you know where that is.
I do.
And then I moved. The last house I had before I moved to Phoenix was in Town and Country. Very nice area. And so I moved to Scottsdale. I moved the whole company and everything, Trendstat Capital Management. And as I retired, back in 2003 to 4, it was kind of a multi-phase process of retiring. I ended up probably what best known, I'd say, as a currency trader and a futures trader at that point. The stock business had gone away. You had to be billions of dollars at that stage to make a difference. And we were smaller, very automated, thanks to my engineering background. So I viewed myself, a lot of people with the market wizards tag and all that, Mr. Serenity. Everybody thinks of me as a trader. I think of myself as like a data processing expert or something. I'm bringing in data, I am processing it, and I'm shipping out orders. That's the way I look at it. I don't put a label of trader on me that a lot of people do. That being said, a lot of the concepts that you guys all face as traders, I face as trying to analyze data and figure out what to do with it. I just do it on a more leveraged basis. So instead of me having to sit in front of a screen and watch what's going on, I can take data, ask for it, bring it down into my computers, try to process something, make some decisions, ship out. Every afternoon I ship out probably somewhere between 145 to 154 or so orders, good till cancel, on some 7 strategies across.
How many orders? Can you say that again, Tom?
I send out somewhere in the neighborhood of 145 to 150 something orders every night, every afternoon, actually, our time. Usually around 2 o'clock, 2:30, I get all my processing done.
2:30 what time? What Eastern time?
That's Pacific. No, sorry. 5 something your time.
5:30. Yeah. Okay.
And I get everything set for overnight. And just before I came on just now, I just check the overnights and I do a quick scan, just see what happened overnight, because I'll get executions while I'm sleeping. And then I'll just check it out, make sure everything looks good. It did. I had no errors or anything. So all the good till cancels are still running across about 35 or 37 different tickers, markets that range from a bit of mostly futures, I would say, is I do have a mutual fund that I own, and I have one little stock that I'm playing with, but other than that, it's all futures.
What assets are you trading the most? Like, is it the typical futures like an ES and NQ, or?
No, futures across about 35 markets.
Okay.
I don't try to center it in any one thing. I mean, I've got an exposure to NASDAQs, I got an exposure to S&Ps, I got an exposure to Dows, IFAs over in Europe, Nikkeis over in Japan. So there's a lot of things that are going on there, but I also have exposure to things like, treasury bonds and unleaded gas and orange juice and cocoa and cotton and coffee and lumber and Russells and Australian dollars and aluminum. And when you have that many things going on, what it does to you mentally is it tries to spread your brain and your mental aspects over a lot of different games that you're playing, basically. And you start becoming a bit more of a statistician and more of a data processor. Because you realize that, like yesterday, we had the stock market up a heck of a lot. So, I've got something like 6 markets that are stock market oriented that are all going my way. Trend's been up for a while, so I've been long for quite a bit. So yesterday was just a walk in the park. Today, so far, it's up probably about 0.2% since I signed on this morning with you guys. I think it's a little bit easier on the brain, on the mental side of things, when you aren't obsessed over any one trade. So I like to think of a trade. Let's say you see a chart, you see a setup, you want to go long, short, whatever. What I find a lot of new traders doing is becoming very obsessed with that and focusing in on that, and everything they've got is riding on that one trade emotionally. And what I like to think of it is that is just one trade of your next 1,000 trades. When you start putting a number like that on it, then all of a sudden this one trade that you're in on becomes a data point as opposed to making or breaking you. And your emotions just start leveling out, and you get a little bit more rational, and you get a little bit more calm about the whole thing, because when that's over, you got to do number 2 and number 3 all the way up to 1,000, and you got a lot of work ahead of you. So let's not get excited over this one trade, because you got 999 to go. And when you take that kind of mental attitude, it smooths out your brain, allows you to become a little bit more serene, which is probably what Jack saw in me when he tagged me with Mr. Serenity back in New Market Wizards. But that's kind of the way I look at it. And I also don't think a lot of people become obsessed with trading to the point where it's their whole life. They have nothing outside of trading. They have a hard time on the weekends because the markets are closed. They want action, and that's fine, but it's good trading to me is just reading where you are right now in the markets and going long or short and not worrying too much about it. I don't try to predict at all what's going to happen tomorrow or what's going to happen by the close today. I just don't. I look at it now and it looks like to me like stocks are on the upside for the most part. So great, I'm long. There's not a whole lot more thought than that about it. And I think that that's a whole lot easier on you when you're trying to run a substantial trading operation where, you think about the day when I was at Trendstad, I had probably 200 clients worldwide, some 14 trading desks that I was dealing with, 600 million under management. There's a lot of stuff going on there. 10 people, 40 computers trying to crank all the time and figure all this stuff out. And what I'm doing now in retirement with basically 4 accounts, 2 for my wife, 2 for me, no clients, don't have to be registered, no NFA or SEC audits coming through to interrupt my day. I can put on some chill music and just, work on whatever I want to work on. If I choose to do a TV spot or an interview, I can do it. If I want to take my wife out to lunch, I do that. Life is a whole lot easier than it used to be. So we enjoy it here in Scottsdale.
Awesome. Barbie, Forrest, questions for Tom? If not, I've got one I'm thinking on.
So I have 2. I'm gonna be selfish and
I was thinking he's living the goal there. So
yeah. So the first one would be, what would be your advice to aspiring young traders that want to eventually manage capital for others, right? Start a fund essentially.
I would seriously, let's answer that one.
Sure.
That's one I get a lot. And since I was both an individual trader that I am now for the last 20 years, and since I was also 28 years in the business managing other people's money, I have a lot of new traders ask me that question. They want to somehow figure out a way to get into the managed industry, whether it be managed stocks, managed futures, managed whatever, hedge fund. What you find when you analyze around the world, you'll find that there's less regulations in other venues, other countries. The United States is particularly onerous with their securities and futures registrations. So for starters, when I shut down Trendstat, I was burning $100,000 a year. After all those years of being in business, I was on the board of the National Futures Association, which regulates the futures industry. So, I was in the middle of all of that. I still burned $100,000 a year just to stay in business and stay legal. So what you find happening in the United States, which is different than when I started way back in the 70s trading and 80s with my managed business, you have a problem now in that you've got to get to a certain size under management to be believable. And people that are going to give you that kind of money are going to want it to be a little bit more than just you. You can't just be sitting there in front of a computer with a flashy track record and attract much attention anymore, because there's lots of people that can attract attention with a staff of 5 people and backups, and you have a compliance department, and you're perfectly registered, and you've got 20 million under management or something like that. If you don't have those things, then you're going to look awkward compared when you go up against somebody who's got $1 billion under management and a staff of 20, and they know what they're doing. They've been doing it for a lot of years. So unlike when I started out, where you could almost just post a flashy track record on some tracking service and people would, dial you up and ask you some questions, that doesn't exist anymore. So the business and the startup and what you need to have available right out of the gate is so much of a higher hurdle than it used to be. If you are successful in trading, on the other hand, through things like funding or whatever that you guys are talking about, and you can convince yourself that you can reproduce that, then when you get to the point where you have enough of those assets on your own to be able to manage your own assets, if you can continue the process of doing that and increasing it, and if you have to have let's call it a full-time job and you're going to trade on the side, whatever you can figure out, you go through a transition and you reach a level where you don't need the daytime job anymore. And that's where I am right now. And it's a great place to be. And it doesn't involve $100,000 a year in audits and accounting and legal prospectuses every 6 months you got to put out, whether you want to or not, whether your clients even read them or not. It's required by law. So you end up doing a lot of stuff that to me is just idiotic, but it's required in the US. If you do some of these things offshore, you get away from some of that, but then you have a harder time with marketing because your clients are going to be far-flung all over the world. So now you're in an interesting situation where you can't really, unless you're tied into certain people, you may have a hard time raising capital. The US is still the largest consumer market of financial stuff. So it's a quandary and not an easy one. So that's the explanation I would give. Concentrate on your own trading and get really good. That helps you no matter what. And as you get to the point where you want to go managed, really, really think long and hard about running a business. It's not trading, it's running a business that involves trading. Trading is going to be just one small sub piece of running a good business. So when you think about it in those terms, you'll approach it with the right amount of, just like a business plan, raise capital, find people, put together a team, have a 3 to 5 year plan, advertising, everything you need to run a business. It's not just trading. And your second question, I was long-winded.
I was gonna keep it. I don't want to be too selfish, so I'll kick it over to Barbie. But I just want to say
Okay.
I highly appreciate that. I try to trade as little as possible. I say I'm also the COO of a media company here
There you
in
go.
Miami. So yeah, I appreciate that, and super blessed to get to ask you a question. So thank you,
Barbie,
You're muted.
you're muted.
I had a dog barking earlier, sorry, but I like the idea of not having all your eggs in one basket and kind of spreading out your ideas a little bit. I know that probably takes a lot of time to develop all those different strategies, but I was wondering, so right now it seems like all of these automations in anything that we can automate and program is kind of taking over and kind of being the future of trading. And
Right.
do you have automations that you're using, and what do you think about that? Are automations going to kind of take over?
Well, all right. Let's start with the fact that I am an engineer, so that helps me a little bit. I did take programming courses in college and things, and I built what I call the $1 million. It cost me about $1 million to build Trendstat's trading and simulation platform back in the day. And we originally built it in Fox Pro, and I did some of that early programming myself. I later on had a team of 4 people, including me, 3 other computer jocks that would come in and full-time be doing all sorts of things. So you can build a pretty fantastic situation there where you're processing a lot and you're sending out a lot of orders. They're just a blur of data coming in, processing it, stuff going out. Some of it almost real time. Some of it was just once a day. And we did it in FX. We did it in like 80 futures markets across, like I said, hundreds of clients, 14 trading desks, a lot going on there. Nowadays, what I try to think about doing it, and I don't know if any of you have ever tried this, but even if you have something like a simple spreadsheet, I know I wrote a book called Successful Traders Size Their Positions. It's $10 for the PDF download on the website enjoytheride.world, which is right behind my name there. And enjoytheride.world was my answer to all of the traders that are always sending me emails and direct messaging on how do you do this? How do you do that? What do you think of this? And I get a lot of that, literally thousands of emails, and I've answered every one of them over the years. And what I thought I'd do is to take my kind of advice and knowledge and just stick it into a 24-hour a day, always available website, so that people could just go there, and it's a collection of everything Tom Basso, everything that I can think of is there. All my interviews, all the books I recommend. There's a frequently asked questions you can download for free from the store. There's a store there with some books that I've written that you can buy if you want. It helps pay for the website. I don't get rich off of $10 position sizing books. But the point is if you take a position sizing book, for instance, there's simple math in there. And a lot of people have taken that math and put it in a spreadsheet. So you get into, all right, the S&Ps are about ready to break out, or you've got a setup, you're going to go long. You want to know how many to buy. A lot of people lock onto a specific size of position when they do a trade. I would prefer to measure the risk in the trade, because the risk changes from trade to trade. And I would rather make the bet size as a percent of my equity always the same. So, for example, make the example easy, $100,000 account, the risk per contract is 0.5%, and I'm going to allow myself up to 1% risk. So how many contracts of ES am I going to do? I'm going to do 2. 0.5% times 2 equals 1%. 1% of 100,000 is going to be the 1,000, and each contract has a $500, let's say, risk to the stop loss point. So I'm going to do 2 contracts. I always round it down, but that simple math could be automated. Now, if you were trying to automate it, how would you go about that? Well, everybody knows about Grok or ChatGPT these days. You don't have to know a lot about coding. You could ask Grok, okay, I want Grok, I want to run a Python program that does the following. Here's a PDF of Tom Basso's book on position sizing so that you understand the math. I would like to apply that and get rid of my spreadsheet and create a Python program that brings in the data, runs it, and it tells me how many contracts to do. And I just want to hit the button and it happens. And Grok will help you program that. And you may not know all of what you need to know, but you'll learn it really quick. And Grok can even help you with the learning process, almost giving you advice along the way. So really, we've reached and entered an age in AI where the AI machines out there can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you in a lot of it. And the way I look, Barbie, at trading in all human endeavor, let's go real global. There is the creative human being that can actually sit and say, you know, I think I'm going to create a new trading strategy that involves S&P futures or something. And I'm going to go long and short, and you're going to, as a human being, develop that and try to just expound in your brain about it. But then there's the kind of what I would call the repetitive work side of the human endeavor, which is like sitting there and watching charts all day long go up and down and be ready to do something that requires moving a stop or putting a new order in, or I don't know, whatever, doing some analysis of the future market. A lot of that endeavor can be done by computer if you could explain to the computer what you want done. Therein lies the problem. A lot of people don't seem to be able to jump that hurdle, but it's not that hard with things like AI now. You're getting more and more ability to be able to analyze a lot of things using AI and actually write computer code that actually then you can run to get rid of some of your repetitive tasks, and then you have more time for your creative side. And if you take that and apply it globally, you start thinking of things like, oh, it would be fun for me to go into the kitchen. I like to cook. So you can start with a recipe, let's say, All right, that's fine. But how about, repetitive, ask for a recipe, boom. Creative, take the recipe, let's add artichoke hearts. I wonder how that would taste. Or let's spice it up a bit with a chipotle powder, because I'm in the mood for a little spice this afternoon. And so you can have the repetitive side of the human endeavor and the creative side of the human endeavor. And I'll tell you what, the creative side's a whole lot more fun, because you can do things that a computer can't do. One thing AI is not at all is creative. You have to be very specific, ask the question, and you get an answer back. But it's not creative at all. And anybody who thinks that AI is deluding themselves.
Awesome.
Does that answer?
Tom?
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah,
We appreciate you joining us. This is awesome.
That's been great.
There's a lot of
anybody
fun.
has not read Market Wizards, by the way, or the new Market Wizards, you're missing out.
Yeah, I just put that on my list to buy. So
go check it out.
Haven't read that one yet.
Yeah, I was a new Market Wizards, and I grew up with some of the guys and girls, actually. They're Linda Raschke, was in that one. I forget who else. There's a number of different traders. I got to meet and talk to Jack Schwager, and we became friends over the years. And it's there's a lot of collection of stories in there. I actually did find some gems in there myself that ended up affecting my early career. So it's good reading. It's light reading. It's not heavy duty math or science or anything.
Awesome.
So,
and I'd like to encourage everyone to go to enjoytheride.world. You see the URL right on Tom's name. I'm going to drop it in the chat as well. And thanks for waking up early for us, Tom.
Now I get to go have breakfast.
There you go.
All right, see you guys. But
all
good
right, take
trading.
care.
Thanks.
Thank you. How was that? That was awesome.
That's great.
I love listening to the OGs because that's like the success we all want. He's there, so lots to learn from them.
Always feels validating when someone who has like way more years of experience says things, and you're like, "That's something I said. I must be on the right track."
Yeah, it's like I know about that. I'm doing it right.
So that's good. And I see a lot of people in the chat getting impatient. I'm gonna tell you guys, you're missing out. You are missing out wholly on the bigger picture of what this is about.
But Forrest, we need a 1-minute candle that's going to make us $10,000 right now. Find it for me.
You can tell some people are unprofitable just by what they take time to type. But nonetheless, we're pushing higher. We're still pushing higher, building value higher.
Doing the walk-up thing.
Coming up towards 21,324, 25 is that higher target. Yes, I put a target higher at 59.3725. So both of those levels are coming up here. I did end up going long. I'm up, I don't know, almost 200 points here on NQ. So we'll see. We'll see what we get to. But yeah, that's it. That's it for me. I'm going to keep watching the VP, the intra-session volume profile, and see how value gets built. I'm going to cut this at this measured move. It might run a little bit higher today, but that'll be it for me. That'll be my one trade for the day, and call it a wrap. So those are my closing thoughts, Luke.
All right. But stay tuned, folks. It's not over.
Yep.
There's more.
Uh-oh.
Another hour of content every single day. We covered ES, NQ, a big launch, Walmart, gold, dollar. We had one of the OGs on to expel some wisdom to you all. And I would like to say goodbye to our dear friends, Barbie and Forrest. And welcome our new friend, Mr. Ash Trades. Ashy Ash.
Hey, good morning.
What's going on?
How are we doing today? Phenomenal morning so far in this market, let me tell you.
All right. Take us through it. What's going on in your mind? Do you have any trades on, positions on? What can we expect over the next hour? Do you have giveaways? I mean, what's the dealio?
Well, I'm definitely here for the people, so I'm going to push to get another giveaway going. So for anybody that's here, you might want to stick around. I might have something for you. Amazing price action this morning. I've been bull posting for quite some time now. In my opinion, it's only a matter of time. So, for that original conversation we had here on MyFunded TV, talking about long-term positioning, you had that opportunity during the maximum fear events, and now you're reaping the rewards from it. Okay, so at this moment in time, it's just a time to allow the long-term positions do what they need to do while remaining patient. We are here to day trade. We are here to intraday position ourselves, but we need to know when to, put the pedal to the metal and when to sit back and be patient. Every day is not a trading day. A lot of the time in this business is spent doing nothing. So this would be one of them. In my opinion, once again, this is all just my personal experience with the market. So you as an independent thinker need to understand your own risk tolerance, and you have to take ownership of it. For me, I'm well positioned long term. I'm looking for new all-time highs. I explained that, the maximum fear event of, all these limit down days during the tariff news was just another buying opportunity. And you can see that now. So, in my opinion, liquidations fuel the next rally. That's what we're getting now. All the liquidations that occurred on this move down, this entire move down, everybody that got liquidated during that is what is the reason for why we're moving higher now. Liquidations fuel the next rally. So at the current moment in time for today, I'm currently being patient. No positions for me this morning because of it. You have to understand your risk tolerance. This is very important. You should know how much you're willing to risk on any given trade. You should know how many trades you're willing to take within a day. You should know how many trades you're willing to take within a week. Okay, so, whether that's one trade a day, 2 trades a day, 2 trades a week, it's a personal opinion. You have to look inwards to understand that, whether it's a certain dollar amount, whether it's a percentage of the account. What matters is that you define your edge, define your risk, and then your actions align with that. Okay, so in my opinion, they're doing a great job going higher. CPI this morning, one of the catalysts for those higher prices. Quite a weird CPI release, pretty indecisive. Here's the CPI candle here. You have the CPI high, CPI low. This is one thing that I pointed to within my communities to show some of the higher prices this morning was what happened with CPI. So take a look at this real quick. Take a look at the CPI candle. Okay. Look at the CPI candle high. Look at the CPI candle low. Okay. So just take a moment to take a look at it. Okay. Next, we're going to move over to the correlated pair, ES. Okay. Let's outline CPI candle high. Let's outline the CPI candle low. Now, can anybody point to, throw it in chat if you already know what I'm talking about. What am I trying to discuss here in terms of understanding direction for today? What is something that happened with CPI that allowed us to have insight for direction of price? Amazing job. Amazing job for all the individuals in chat. I guess that was an easy question. So very good job. Divergence, right? 2 correlated assets should be moving the same at the same time. When there's a crack in correlation, That's the market tipping its hand to you, showing you what might happen next. Okay? Notice how ES took out the CPI candle low. Let's hop back over to NQ and you'll be able to see it clearly now. Notice how NQ did not take out the CPI candle low. That's a crack in correlation. That is showing that ES took liquidity below the CPI candle low. That is showing you that NQ is the leader in terms of strength. That's what a cracking correlation does, and that should be today's lesson, is SMT, divergence, whatever you want to call it, there was a crack in correlation. This handed it away, in my opinion. On top of being aligned with higher time frame order flow, right? We've been looking for higher prices for quite some time now, and I've explained why. We continue to keep displacing higher. Even if you want to just do some trend analysis, right? Even if you want to do some trend analysis, there was a downtrend at this moment in time. We broke out of the downtrend here. Ever since we did that, we've made a new trend. We're moving higher. All right, so some simpler terms, some trend analysis. Now it's just a matter of finding those higher time frame points of interest to position yourself in those long positions. When you have a clear trend, you can have a clear bias. When you're only looking for one side of the marketplace, then you know what type of positions to enter, right? So in my opinion, I align myself with my bias. Since I'm bullish, since I've been bullish for some time, I would look for long positions. When looking for those long positions, I would look at higher time frame points of interest, which we discussed on our last live stream, or divergences, right? You could simply be a divergence trader. When you get a form of divergence, that would be a entry confirmation. You can look to enter your bias when you get that divergence. Okay, so that is my key takeaway for today. And you see the results to it, right? After the divergence occurred, right? So this is when NQ made a higher low while ES took out the low. Ever since then, we started moving higher. That's what I'm trying to point to here, is those little moments in time where the market tips its hand to you to show you what might happen next. All right, so we got the move higher today. So, my long-term bags are very happy about it. Anybody that, has a Roth or a 401k, they probably appreciate it too. For those people that are looking for their long-term positions, you're sitting comfortably. And now it's just a moment of being patient and allowing the market to do what it wants to do. We'll look for it to move to new all-time highs. That's my bias. So that's my information for today. Now I'll make a deal with you. And everybody knows what I look for. So I'll go ahead and I'll throw it right out there. Let's get the stream to 1K likes again. If you guys are able to get the stream to 1K likes, we'll look to see if I could get another code for you guys. Very simple. You got 900 people in here watching. Everybody clicks the like button once. We'll get to 1K likes. If we get to 1K likes, I'll look for some, what do you guys say? Throw it in chat. Resets. What's the preference today? What's the preference today? Throw it in chat what you guys think. Okay, I'm seeing a bunch of resets so far. Some accounts, some resets, more resets. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Get in there, hit the like button. See if we can get to 1K. If we can get to 1K, I'll try to push for some resets for you guys. Doing everything I can to add value to the community. Get as many resets as I can. Let's see if we can get the like button up to 1K. Now, as we're waiting, we could also go through some questions and comments. So feel free to throw any questions or comments in chat. It could be about, any part of this business, whether it's about today's action, whether it's about my model and how I trade, whether it's about risk management. It could be some mental or emotional intelligence, the whole nine. Feel free to throw any questions or comments in chat. Is divergence the same as SMT? Yes, those are the same two things. It is quite funny how there's been so many different terminologies at this point. Maybe that's something I should talk about too. I highly suggest that you don't fall into the new shiny object syndrome, right? Everybody thinks that there's some kind of secret, some kind of new model, some kind of, best way to trade. There is no secrets. This market has been around ever since it's been around. People have been participating in it. Just because people call it some kind of new name or something, that's not, there's nothing new under the sun is what it comes down to. We're all staring at the same exact price action. So whether you see some kind of new terminology or not, the market's always been around. This is what the market's been doing. So in my opinion, don't fall into that new shiny object syndrome where you're constantly looking for something new, something secret. There is nothing new under the sun. So you are better served creating a model, sticking to that model, defining your risk management, and executing both your edge and your risk management every single day. If you fall into that new shiny object syndrome, then you're going to be lost in, an abyss of never knowing what, or how to move forward. So identify your edge, define it, then define your risk management and execute those two things. Don't get lost in constantly changing your model, constantly changing your risk. It's better to have your justifications to your actions completely defined so that you know what is and is not a trade. Okay. The new shiny object syndrome holds you back from that progress that you're looking to make. Ash, can you talk about supply and demand strategy and how you manage your mental and emotions? Yeah, supply and demand is support and resistance. Areas on the chart in which price sees some sort of reaction. Okay, so let's go down to a lower time frame to get some examples. Okay, so let's start here from last week. In terms of supply and demand, whether you want to call it that or support and resistance, those two things mean the same thing. You can clearly see here that, price reacted to this area multiple different times, right? So this could be your form of demand, your form of support, whatever you would like to call it. So seeing that price has reacted to this area multiple different times, you can then prepare yourself to take action at this area. This looks like an important area for positioning, right? So notice how you get the prior information. It's very clear that price has found support here multiple different times. So after having that information, you could be preparing yourself to take advantage of that important area the next time it occurs, right? So seeing that price came down tested this support again, got supported, this is where I'd be looking to position myself for longs, and you get a very favorable result to it. Same exact thing for resistance, right? There's a very clear trend that occurred here until we broke that trend here, right? So again, it's the same exact thing. You got a rejection here. You got a rejection here. So you have information to work off of to prepare yourself for that next opportunity. Then when you see that that area provides resistance again, you could then position yourself in shorts for lower prices. And again, it was a favorable result. So in conclusion, simply allowing price to show you the information and objectively analyzing it and executing it, right? So let's take a look at some more information to give some more examples, right? So this, if you were using that logic, right, this might have been a loss. So if you were using this as an area of resistance, right? So we have to show both wins and losses so that you understand what a loss looks like, right? In my opinion, price rejected from this area once, then it rejected from it a second time. So if you went to position yourself for a short in this area again, this is one of the occurrences that you would have lost compared to the first two where you would have seen winners. It's just as important to know what losers look like it is to know what winners look like. So you have an example down here of where shorts would work from the area of supply or resistance. You have an example here of where the area of supply failed. Very good question. Very good question. Now, in my opinion, I would take that a little bit further in stating that I would want to be aligned with the current trend, right? So in my opinion, price has been moving higher for quite some time, okay? It's very clear that ever since we put in this low, we've been in an uptrend. So now if we took that idea that I just mentioned and now applied some logic to it, the logic being price is really bullish right now. The higher time frame you can see is clearly in an uptrend. So to align yourself with an uptrend, then during the times of using support or resistance, during an uptrend, I would want to be looking for longs from support to align myself with that higher time frame order flow. You see the logic to that decision making there? Very good question. Very good question. So again, just to reiterate, explain that if we get to 1K likes on the stream, it looks like resets were the majority of responses. So I'll go ahead and see if we could push for some resets at 1K likes. Looks like we're approaching 1K likes. So let's see if everybody could do it. Do me a favor, like the stream. Let's get that new giveaway going. While we're waiting, again, we'll continue to keep going through any information. Let me ask chat, what do you think is going to happen for moving forward today? Is there any specific levels that you're watching? Is there any specific bias that you have? Is there any specific area that you're looking to position yourself? See if you have any certain levels that you need to be aware of. See if anybody is also looking at the same bias as myself. Bullish bias, 327 level. Pullback to 21, 121. That would be, let's see, 21. Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's hop down to the lower time frame. 21, 121. About the hourly open. In my opinion, this thing is displacing higher. They are aggressively moving in one direction. So on my end, I'm looking for higher prices. You know, I know I keep bull posting, but I'm just being objective to price action. This thing has been moving higher for some time now. I'm going to keep looking for higher prices. So the level I'm looking for next would be here. There's a swing high on the daily chart that it looks like it's reaching for. What level is that? 21,334. Let's see if we either continue to be bullish for that hourly swing high, or if we revisit the hourly candle low. I'll be looking for higher prices. Let's see. We got the poll up in chat as well. Throw it in there. Are you bullish or are you bearish today? I am a bull. I am a bull. Maybe just a small reversal. You know, price can and will do whatever it wants to do, whenever it wants to do it. So I'm looking to be objective to price. I'll allow it to do what it wants to do. Until a reversal presents itself, I'm going to continue looking for higher prices. And amazing job. I'm getting over to chat now. It looks like we did hit the 1K likes. Phenomenal job, everyone. Congratulations. We made it to 1K. So let's do a 50 reset code giveaway. How does that sound? Throw a W in chat if you want to do 50 resets. If we should present a code for 50 resets. Lots of W's. All right, then. Very good job. The code is going live now. Here is the code. 50 resets for code ASHLIVE50. Congratulations. Thank you for everybody that participates. We greatly appreciate all of the questions and comments. And this is where we're showing our appreciation. We're going to continue to keep adding value every single week. Free resets, free accounts. It's happening every single day. We are trying to provide as much value as we can. Once again, the code is ASHLIVE50. Very good job. Congratulations for all the people that hit the like button. We got to 1K. Since we got to 1K, we got 50 resets. Let's see who was able to get one of the resets. Throw a W in chat if you were able to obtain one of the resets. Bunch of W's. Congratulations. There you go. More W's. Congratulations for the 50 resets. There you go. Very good job. And back to the market. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to throw it in chat. We can continue to keep going over information. As you can see, the participation is rewarded. So let's continue to keep adding value. Let's continue to keep going through the information of day trading and this business. How to identify an order block and a breaker block. Well, that was a perfect question for me. I use breaker blocks. That is the way that I enter the market. So we'll go through a bullish breaker, then a bearish breaker. Let's quickly identify them. A bullish breaker is going to be a swing low, a swing high, then a new low, then a new high. Okay. Each one of these needs to be a swing point. Okay. This needs to be a swing low. This needs to be a swing high. This needs to be a new swing low. Then this needs to be a new high. Now, when I say swing low, a swing low is a 3-candle pattern in which the first candle and third candle have higher lows compared to the second candle. Okay, so for example, here is a swing low. Notice how the first candle and the second candle have higher lows compared to the second candle. Okay, the first candle and third candle, let me say that correctly. The first candle and third candle need to have higher lows compared to the second candle. That's what a swing low is. Same thing for a swing high. A swing high is a 3-candle pattern where the first candle and third candle have lower highs compared to the second candle, right? So there's very clear swing highs right here. There's also a swing high right here, just so you can clearly identify what a swing point is. It's a swing high or a swing low. Okay, so a bullish breaker is going to be a swing low, then a swing high, then a new low, then a new high. Each one of these reference points needs to be a swing high or a swing low. Okay, then between the first swing high and first swing low, you're going to need the highest up close candle. The bullish breaker is always going to be an up close candle. This is how you identify bullish breakers. Okay, you need all of those institutional swing points to determine swing highs and swing lows. Once you get all of those institutional swing points, then you can identify a bullish breaker. Now let's also go through a bearish breaker. It's the same thing, but opposite. A bearish breaker is a swing high, swing low, new swing high, then a new low, right? So take a look at this right here. You have a swing high, then you have a swing low, then you have a new swing high, then you have a new low. A bearish breaker is always going to be a down closed candle. So you can see here, this is the bearish breaker during this formation. Okay. The way that I use breakers is I look to enter at the beginning of the breaker. Stop loss at the high, aiming for 2R. Right, so that would be a short there. Stop at the high, aiming for 2R. And you get a favorable result there. Okay, so very good question about breakers. Very good job. How do you approach trading when institutional players are active in the market? Do you adjust your strategy based on their influence, or do you strictly stick to your system? My opinion is this market is made up of institutional traders. So when institutional traders are active, that's every single day. In my opinion, there's no difference in terms of when they're active versus when they're not active. Those are the individuals moving the market. So that occurs every single day. Now, the next part of that question is control what you're capable of controlling. Right? So what you're capable of controlling is your risk management. What you're capable of controlling is your model. So if you have a certain way of conducting your risk management within the marketplace, the conditions don't change that. You stick to your process and you allow the results to be a byproduct of it. You show up to the market, conduct your model every single day, no matter the circumstances. The justifications to your actions is how you know how to take a trade. So that's why your model should be defined. You should define your edge. You should define your risk management and execute that every single day. Okay, so you don't change anything. Your model remains the same. Your risk management should remain the same. It doesn't matter who's participating in the markets. Got the chat over here on the other screen, so let me just check to see for more questions. Ash, if you were going to get in a position, what position would you aiming for? I'm not getting into any positions today. I've already explained. Price did a great job moving higher, so I have no interest in taking any positions. At the current moment in time, all I'm looking to do is allow my long-term positions to keep appreciating. So for me, intraday, it's a time to be patient. I don't need to be taking trades every single day. Okay. Right now is a moment in time to just allow those long-term positions appreciate. Very good question. How do you know which fair value gap to use? Example, no fair value gap on the 1 hour to the 15-minute, but below the 5-minute. This is where you create your model, right? So, for example, I execute the most on the 5-minute chart. For me, the higher time frame to the 5-minute chart is the hourly chart. So I'm using hourly points of interest to execute 5-minute trades. That's what I do. That's what I've defined my model as. So that's what I stick to. So if I see an hourly fair value gap, right, that's what I would want to use. For example, hourly bullish fair value gap. I would want to be looking at bullish fair value gaps because of the higher time frame order flow, right? I've been explaining that you want to be on the same side as the higher time frame order flow. Higher time frames have been very bullish. So looking at hourly bullish fair value gaps provides a really important area for price to find support and move higher. So I use the hourly chart to find higher time frame points of interest. Can the breaker block be identified on any time frame? Yes. This once again points to why you need to define your edge, right? There's a lot of different time frames we could go through here, right? But you don't want to fall into information overload. I don't think you should use every single time frame. That would cause information overload. So just use a defined time frame. For me, I use the daily time frame to create a bias. Then I use the hourly time frame for higher time frame points of interest. Then I use the 5-minute time frame to find breaker blocks, the unicorn model. So notice how I got rid of all of the other time frames. I do not focus on the other time frames. I just focus on the hourly, the daily, and the 5-minute so that I don't fall into information overload. The purpose of that is so that I know which time frames to analyze. If you have 30 different time frames, you're going to have conflicting information, and it's going to be very hard to move forward and find a trade. So less is more. Choose quality over quantity. In my opinion, just choose 2 or 3 time frames and then move forward with them. So I probably already know the answer to this one, but let's see what chat feels like. If there was a chance that I could potentially try to get another set of giveaways, who would like that? Throw a W in chat if we should do some more resets. Let me know what you think. Should I keep trying to add more value to the stream by getting some more resets? Throw a W in chat. If we get enough W's, I'll try to get one more before the stream ends today. Got to see if there's enough W's in chat, though. Price continues to keep pushing higher. Again, I'm looking for that daily swing high. We'll see if it wants to reach for the, what is that? Let's see. 21,327 level. Very good. Very good. What a bullish market. Man, they just keep pushing higher. Go ahead and throw any question or comments in chat. We have another 14 minutes before the stream wraps up. If we get enough W's in chat, I'll do my best to push for some more resets. See if we can get another giveaway going. Beautiful move today. Beautiful move. So let's take a look too. Who deals with some long-term investments too? Curious to know if everyone's here for day trading or if people are also working on their long-term positions as well. Curious to know if everybody's working on their long-term positions as well. Only day trading, day trader, long-term dividends. Yeah, in my opinion, multiple sources of income is extremely important. Thank you for our guest today. Tom did a phenomenal job speaking about it. If you guys missed that segment, I highly suggest you go back and rewatch this stream. Some extremely valuable information from Tom today during his segment. What a phenomenal guest. So throw it in chat. Let me know. Do you trade long-term or is it only day trades? In my opinion, should be working on both, right? Long-term, short-term, should also be working in other markets. Diversification is what it comes down to. Ash, do you like the 330 target for today? Daily chart looks like that's where the draw is. Yeah, my current draw is right here. Basically 330. This hourly swing high, this daily swing high in terms of a target for today. Look for price to continue to keep pushing to this area. I'm bullish. I'm going to keep bull posting until price says otherwise. I'm looking for higher prices to the 330 area. All right, so to appreciate the ones that are still here in chat, I think we should do one more giveaway. I want to show some appreciation for the people that continue to keep working and learning with us. The people that are still here in chat should be rewarded for their time. So the code is going on screen now. The code will be SCOUT100 for another 50 resets. This is a thank you for the people that continue to keep showing up. The people that stick around, it means a lot to us. It's providing a lot of value. All the questions and comments that are coming across, it's allowing us to go over a lot of information. So the work proves the value. 50 resets. The code is SCALP100. Good luck. You'll have to get to it quick because there's over 400 people watching with 50 resets. Throw a W in chat again if you were able to obtain one of the resets. That's our way of saying thank you for your time. Congratulations to anybody that was able to get the resets. Bunch of W's. Congratulations. You know, we're trying to provide value to the community every single day. For the individuals that keep showing up, these opportunities will continue to keep presenting themselves. So if you didn't get the opportunity today, just know that there will always be another opportunity. Ash, where can I see more about your strategy, man? I've been doing concepts and I'm still not where I want to be. I have my social media pages. If you want to take a look at it, _Ash _trades _. I'm on Twitter. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Discord. I'm here working and learning every single day. The YouTube, completely free. Head over there. There's a playlist. It's called the Unicorn Model Playlist. That's the way that I engage with the marketplace. I walk through the entire model that I trade. If you'd like to check that out, go ahead and check out the YouTube. The Twitter is where I document and journal each day. That is more of executions, analysis, and mental and emotional intelligence, along with these live streams. If you continue to keep showing up to these MyFunded TV live streams, you'll be able to get a lot of value, a lot of experience. I'm gladly sharing my logic and my decision making in real time with everybody here. So I highly suggest to continue to keep showing up to these live streams. So we got another 7 minutes before the stream is wrapped up today. If you want to go over any questions or comments, feel free to throw it in chat. While you're at it, like the stream, sub to the channel. If you're curious why you can't communicate with us, it's because you have to sub to the channel. The chat is sub-only mode. So go ahead, sub to the channel. We are doing this daily, okay? Turn the notifications on. That way you can be notified for when any videos are uploaded to the YouTube or when we go live again. Hey, Ash, when do you use volume profile? So I don't use volume profile in the sense that volume traders use it. So I'm not looking for certain levels from the volume profile. I do use volume in the sense of I look to execute during the opening times, right? So there's normally more volume or volatility, whatever you want to call it, at the opening times, right? 9:30 bell happens. There's usually an influx of volatility or volume, whatever you want to call it. That's when I'm looking to engage with price action. So I don't use volume profile in the sense of looking for certain areas to trade. I use volume in the sense of that's when I want to be trading. There are certain times in which I want to be trading, and those are the opening times. Asia open, London open, New York open. During those opening times, you'll see an influx of volume. Very good question. Very good question. So, any other questions? Just a few more minutes here before we wrap up. The bias was great today. We're still getting the higher prices. So very good job for all the individuals that were bullish. Again, the 330 level is where I'm looking for price to move to. It's continuing to do a good job. Sorry to all the bears, but the bulls are saying, can't stop, won't stop. We're going higher. We have to allow price to do what it wants to do. The bulls are in control. We're moving higher. Don't force against it. see if we can finish up that level. Let's see if we can head to the 330 area. It's doing a great job. Any last questions? Just got a couple more minutes here before we're going to wrap it up. Phenomenal job by the bulls today. Would love to see that 330 area as the target. Do you trade seek and destroy? I love all the terminology that we have. Yeah, seek and destroy is simply a consolidation profile. When the market is consolidating, you can still trade it. You just want to trade it properly. So in my opinion, when dealing with consolidation or when dealing with ranges, okay, you want to trade it from the extreme of the range back to equilibrium of the range. Okay, so you can trade consolidation profiles. And when we trade consolidation profiles, I think that the best opportunity presents itself at the extreme of the range, targeting equilibrium of the range. Very good question. Great way to wrap up the stream. You just need to be able to identify it is the last thing that I would put into that answer. There's a certain way of identifying it. If London session takes Asia, if London session takes Asia sessions high and low of the session, that's how we can conclude that it'll be a consolidation profile. Then it's simply just a matter of executing it properly. Very good question. So that is the end of the live stream. Okay, I just want to say thank you to all the like-minded professionals. We greatly appreciate everybody that continues to keep showing up each day. It's really providing a lot of value. All the questions and comments that are coming across. It's allowing us to go over a lot of information. It's helping with education. It's helping people understand how to day trade, how we're day trading. And the best part about it is, we get to do this as a community. Doing it as a community provides so many more learning experiences than if we were to be doing this on our own. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you to everybody that continues to keep participating. It's really providing a lot of value for all of the viewers, the entire community. And we're doing our best to provide value every single day through entertainment, education, giveaways. We're calling out levels. We're providing real-time analysis. You're getting all of the logic and decision-making in real time during the markets. So thank you everybody for being here. That is the end of today's live stream. Get ready for tomorrow's live stream. We are doing this daily, so we will be right back here during New York Open. Thank you again for everybody that is here. I hope you all have a nice day. I will see you all on tomorrow's live stream. Have a nice day, everyone.